Welcome back, my smellers. This is the Deadlock Pure Beginner Guide. You can start this just from 0 hours in the game and it should get you stinking up in Street Brawl by the end. This is part 2 of a 3-part series. The first one covered all the basics, right? Movement, UI, the hideout, things like that. This one will be items and some of the itemization. And then the next one will be Street Brawl focus, just the mode itself. Really. Now, this whole thing is just Street Brawl focused. We're not really diving into the main game itself. Once you finish this, practice a little bit in Street Brawl. It'll give you a good footing, and then you can know when you're comfortable yourself and start to learn the main mode. Now, I know items can be the scariest part of any MOBA, but with Street Brawl, they are way easier to manage. You are only shown 3 items at a time. You can take the time to read them. You do have plenty of time. The match won't start until everyone's selected an item, or I think it's about like 120 seconds have passed. So take the time to read them and make sure you understand what you're going for. Now, thanks to the nature of Street Brawl, you will learn items just passively as you play, just as you see them in your choice of 3. And if there's any that you don't like or you don't understand, you do get 1 reroll every round. Right, so use it or lose it. It will refresh every round, but it is only ever 1 at a time. So the basic rundown is that orange items are gun items, green items are vitality items, and purple items are spirit items. So orange and green makes sense. The more orange you have, the more gun damage you have, the more greens you have, the more tanky you are. But for purple, I said it gives you more spirit. So, but what is spirit? Well, for those who remember, we were looking at abilities earlier. That little purple star next to the impact damage and the explosion damage, that is our spirit power scaling. So the simplest way of saying it is more spirit power does equal more damage, but for certain abilities that is even more true. If you can see here, the impact damage says it's times 1 of what our spirit power is, but our explosion damage is times 1.7. So that means it scales really well relative to our spirit. We're effectively getting whatever our spirit is times 1.7 of that, adding on to our explosion damage. Right? Does that make sense? Now, as you can see, there's also some other types of scaling other than spirit scaling. McGinnis's turrets, they actually scale with this little portrait of her. Signifies that it scales with your level, which you can see at the bottom left. If you hold tab, hover over your boon level at the bottom left here, that number is what it's scaling with. There is also weapon damage scaling as well. Main example is Paradox's 3. It does scale with her weapon damage. So if we like the funny bell move, we will want to buy more purple items. If we like the Twink's gun, we'll look to buy more orange items. And if we need more survivability, or we want to be more supporty, we eat our greens. So now we'll cover the scary little bars at the bottom left. Like I said, these are your investment bars. And as well as the stats that we get from items, we do also get raw stats from our investments. Now, if we just take Spirit, for example, keep it simple. If we look at the Spirit investment bar, it says +7, 800, and at the top it's +101, 28.8k. Well, this is basically the reward that you're getting for how much you've invested into that color. So, and by investing into it, I mean the value of the items that you have. Now, if we look at the shop, each item does have a value and it's separated into tiers. It doubles, right? Each tier is double the value of the last one. We've got 800 at tier 1, 1600 at tier 2, 3200 at tier 3, and 6400 at tier 4. And don't ask me about tier 15. You stay away from tier 15, alright? So now if we call back to the Spirit investments, now it makes a bit more sense, right? If we have, I'll just show an example. If we have 800 souls, that's the currency in the game, 800 souls worth of purple items, you can see we've met that threshold for +7, and that +7 is +7 spirit power, which is, like we said, affecting our damage. So now you can see that used to do 40 damage on impact, now it does 47 damage because this scales exactly times 1 to whatever our spirit power is. So if we had 100 spirit power, this would be 140 damage, right? Now we can really make this more impactful. The more that we get, let's buy a couple of tier 2s, it's going up and up and up. But you'll notice that we're kind of in between here. We have met the criteria for 3.2k. We've got 4,000 worth of purple items, but we've not quite met the 4.8k yet. So we are only getting plus 19, even though we have, you know, if I get rid of this, it's the same. We're still only getting plus 19. But then if we get another, we meet that next threshold, and now we get the bonus spirit power from meeting that threshold. So it really does pay to, even if an item says that it isn't giving you spirit power or gun damage or health, like this one is actually going to give us bonus health, even though it's not a green. It's something to keep in mind. But it doesn't say we're getting spirit power. But, you know, let's say we sell Mystic Burst and we're just about to meet a new threshold. This item is actually effectively giving us spirit power. The main one to look out for is that 4.8k investment. If you get to that, let's just get it there. It has a star next to it. It's the same for all of them. They all have the same thresholds. That is like your spike, right? If you meet that, you'll notice it jumps quite a lot. In the earlier levels and in the later levels, it's not that much that it's going up by. You know, it goes from plus 7 to plus 11. Only a 4 spirit power difference that we're getting as we invest more into it. But you'll notice from 3.2k to 4.8k, it is jumping a hell of a lot more. So that's kind of something to focus on, right? It gives you a bit of a direction and what you want to look for next item-wise. If you're really close to getting that 4.8k, look for another item in that same color. You know, sometimes you can really just go for 1 or 2 colors. It always helps to get some greens when you can. Everyone can make use of them. But, you know, for example, you might want to get some oranges as well, even if you are just going like this call bell. There is an item here that I can show you called Mystic Shot. It's 1,600 value, so it will, you know, pump up some of your weapon damage as well, just in the background. But it is giving us spirit power, and it does make our next bullet, which would normally just be gun damage, deal bonus spirit damage on an 8-second cooldown, and that scales at 0.8 of our spirit damage. So that's going to help us throughout the game. That is a great item to get. It's still helping us further our goal of doing more spirit damage. But it is also giving us just some other backup damage when we're on cooldown. Now there is also a few different types of items. The majority of them are passive, and we've already covered one of the other types a little bit. I briefly mentioned it. But we do have passives, we've got imbues, and we've got actives. So imbues, essentially the effect of these items are applied on a specific ability that you choose. You can see here, imbue an ability with increased range. When you deal damage with that ability, it grants you increased weapon damage per unique hero hit. We get all these effects when we hit someone with whatever ability we imbue. So if we put this on our 1, it will increase their cast range and also increase the, if I just get the cooldowns, increase the range of our explosion, right? That's more than 5 meters then. So that's imbues. And if we look at actives, these are just items that, you know, they can still provide passives, but the main thing is you're buying them for the active element. And as we mentioned, our active slots are down here. We can only have 4 active items per match. Now, I know it's more things to keep in mind on top of your 4 abilities, but really try not to ignore them. There are some insane items locked behind active items. A lot of the shutdown and crowd control and debuffs, really just making sure someone can't have fun, which is really fun for you, that can be locked behind active items. Say, for example, you have a lot of people who can fly or will do things in the air that's really fucking annoying. As much as I love Lash, if you're just starting out and you go against a Lash, his ult is just going to ruin your fucking day. So if you get an item like Knockdown, this stuns someone after 2 seconds, and it stuns for even longer if they're in the air. Lash needs to be in the air for his ult. If you see him and you hear the ding ding ding, knock down his ass, man. Put that fucking anvil right through his fucking head. So keep an eye out for stuff like this when you are playing Street Brawl. Even if it doesn't fit into the build that you're trying to go for, if you get offered it, maybe your teammates aren't getting offered it, and you don't want to rely on... There's already a lot of RNG in this mode, right? So you don't want to rely on your other teammates getting these items. If you get an item that would really shut down the enemy team, consider taking it. Now, another little thing with items is they do have upgrades. In other MOBAs, you know, it's similar to building into an item, building components into a bigger item. But you can see here, if you hover over them and they do have an upgrade, it will show in the description, and it will also highlight them in the book. Now, I'm not going to cover them all directly, but I do have a list here of all the different types of CCs, and next to it, an example of a hero ability that will do that effect. and an item that can also do that effect. All right, so that was it. Part 2, items. I know they are a lot, but they are super important, especially your investments. Back when I started, I don't even think investments were a thing, and then when they came out, I didn't even know they were a thing for the longest time. But they're really good to know because it does give you a bit of a guideline, right? So part 3 will be next. That will cover Street Brawl, the mode mainly, as well as some other beginner-friendly things. And it should really just get you ready to actually play the game. All right, after you've watched that one, you should be able to just jump in. Thank you so much again for even taking the time to watch this video. I really, really do appreciate it. I've got a lot of other stuff coming. I'm really going to get into this, give it my best. So just let me know if this is something you enjoy or if any of the other stuff I do is fun too. Okay, so thank you so much. Take it easy.